Sleep is one of the most important bodily functions of a human being. During sleep, the body gets to rest after being used the whole day. Think of it like the universal turn it off and turn it on fix for electronics, but this time it's humans. Or maybe, just charging. Not all of us have the easiest time falling asleep. For a person to sleep, they should get there first. This is often called the process of falling asleep. Some people take supplements to help with it, while others light up incense to put their minds at ease. But for me, well, it was Atelier Ryza that saved me. Back in late 2022 and early 2023, I had insomnia. It means that my lack of sleep has affected my work and other aspects of my life. I felt weaker each day I woke up and it was horrid. I tried everything that I could to help me fall asleep. I went to bed at 9 p.m. and turned the lights off. I put my phone and tablet far away and closed my eyes. But nothing seemed to work. Until one thing finally helped me. Music. Music in video games play a large part in making the game feel whole, particularly in storytelling. Music sets the tone of the scene and lets the player know whether something happening on the screen is serious or playful. For example, hearing this music may trigger a response from someone who has played Final Fantasy VII. Just the first few notes of this iconic song could make a fan's heart rate race. On the other hand, music from Animal Crossing New Horizons would give you a much more calming vibe. In contrast to One Wing Angel, Animal Crossing's music is a lot more chill, which is the vibe of the game anyway. Atelier Ryza's music, however, has a vibe that's unique for me. It's a JRPG, but it doesn't follow the typical quest progression of saving a cat during the early parts of the game and then wrapping things up by killing God. No, Ryza is a lot more personal and focuses more on the characters and their journey. For those who aren't familiar with Atelier Ryza is an RPG made by Studio Gust and published by Koei Tecmo. Without spoiling anything, just like any Atelier games, it's a very comfy RPG that follows the story of Ryzelyn Stout. The vibe of the game is cozy, happy, and hopeful. So is the game's music. Atelier Ryza's music perfectly catches the vibe that I was looking for. I didn't even know that this was the vibe that I was looking for. One fateful night, I ran into the game's soundtrack on Spotify. While I was deep in my insomnia looking for new music to play on my speakers to help me fall asleep, Atelier Ryza's album popped up on my recommendations. In my desperation to have something playing on the speaker so I could try to fall asleep, I played Crocus, one of Atelier Ryza's voice tracks. And boy was I impressed. Scratch that, I wasn't just impressed, I was able to fall asleep quickly. Now, that might be a weird compliment, but remember that I was looking for music that's calming enough for me to be able to fall asleep peacefully. After the first night of listening to Ryza's soundtrack, I was convinced that this was the answer to my insomnia. So I started to expand my Ryza listening experience. From just listening to the first game's music, I added the second game's album to the playlist. I had to wait a few months before I could add the third game's album because it was released in March of that year. Then, I got intrigued by the game. See, at that point, I've never played a single Atelier game in my life. Of course, I've heard of Ryza's thighs and all that, but it wasn't enough to convince me to buy the game. But you know what did? You're right, it's the music. So, I caved in, and with feelings of enthusiasm and indebtedness, I bought the games. And I don't regret doing that at all. Booting into Ryza felt very familiar. This might be due to the fact that I've been listening to the game's soundtrack for probably months at that point. The sense of familiarity carried over throughout the course of the game, which is weird since I've never played any Atelier game at that point. What hit me next was the scenery. It was a stark contrast to some of the games nowadays that feature urban settings. Ryza's setting was more rural and it felt like I was at home for some reason. I couldn't pinpoint why, but it felt that way. Next is the cast. The world of Ryza is full of people who want to change for the better, either by being stronger, smarter, or by being more helpful to the townspeople that they treasure. This resonated with me a lot. When I had insomnia, I also felt like I was at a stalemate in life. It felt like I wasn't progressing and that my life was just stagnating. I'm pretty sure that that also contributed to my inability to fall asleep properly back then. And while I can sleep much better now thanks to Ryza, I wouldn't be lying if I told you that I don't think my life is stagnating even today. Even if I started playing the series during that time, I wasn't able to finish the first game in one go. I'm a dude who likes to hop around games, and if you're playing a bunch of fighting games and competitive shooters, there are going to be days where you're going to have a hard time looking for a time slot in your day to play your RPGs.
Oh my god!
It took me a year to finish the game. The trick that did it for me was combining it with another passion of mine, streaming. So yes, I streamed the game. Unfortunately, Twitch has already deleted my VODs so I can't show you any of my gameplay. However, if you're interested in that, I plan on streaming Atelier Ryza 2, or maybe I'm streaming it right now. Yeah, this is very helpful. Hey yo, what the heck is that, bro? On my Twitch. Link is down in the description. Atelier Ryza's music was the hook, but what got me into the games were the vibes and the characters. At a difficult time in my life, Ryza found me. I was in the dumps, feeling lost and desperate. I wasn't able to sleep and I wasn't able to make sense of my life. Even now, I still couldn't make sense of it. But Ryza was there every step of the way. The music and the characters gave me hope for the future. It gave me a reason to try and change, and I'm doing just that. Now, I don't know where this change will lead me, but like most characters in Ryza, I can only hope for the best.